Hey there, amazing viewers. Welcome back to our YouTube channel where we bring you your favorite manhwa recaps. Did you know that more than 90% of our viewers have not subscribed yet? So please, if you're enjoying our videos and want to be part of our awesome community, now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. Joining our subscriber family means you'll never miss out on any of our exciting content. So, take a quick second to click that big red subscribe button below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay notified whenever we release a new video. Enjoy watching and stay awesome.
The story begins in King City 3rd High School, where we can see our story protagonist named Ye Bei, a young man with white hair and a skinny body. While he was checking his awakening value, it appeared that he only had 0. At that point, rumors and hatred began to circulate about him. In this world, having 0 awakening value means that there's someone who must be abandoned by God. After a while, the school dean informed Ye Bei that he is fated to be unable to awaken, so he must leave the school out of consideration for the school's reputation and for the current students. Ye Bei complained that even the government had not established a rule requiring students with low awakening values to leave school. While he was protesting, someone threw him a crumpled piece of paper on his head. Almost all of the students harassed Ye Bei because of his low awakening value and demanded that he should be removed because they believed that Ye Bei may harm them. He was made fun of by all the students, and he overheard several harsh comments from them. Lai Yao, a pretty girl with long hair and ruby eyes, appeared suddenly. She halted the students from behaving brutally toward Ye Bei, but these individuals warned her to avoid Ye Bei because he has been cast aside by God. Lai Yao disregarded them and advised Ye Bei to keep ahead rather than give up because there might be a glitch in the system. She added that even if there was an error, that doesn't mean that he's unable to awaken. Awakening value can only be used as a reference. While some people with low awakening values received God's blessing throughout history, many people with high awakening values failed to awaken. Ye Bei doesn't believe in gods and thinks that skill, belief, and awakening worth are closely related. Around 3,000 years ago, many strong and unknown monsters suddenly appeared around the world. Humans used nuclear weapons, yet humans couldn't eliminate them. Strong nuclear radiation even made them mutate more, so they became even stronger. Among all those monsters, 4 Beast Kings were born. Under that 4 Beast Kings' lead, human territory got occupied at a crazy speed. In contrast, a civilian was about to reach an end and get extinct. One day, 2 god statues were from the sky suddenly. Humans started obtaining God's blessing and got strong superpower abilities by praying to God's statue. The higher the awakening value, the higher chance that the person will get God's blessing during the awakening day and become an awakener. In comparison, one with a low awakening value is known to be unable to awaken. Thus, they can only be a normal human. Those with 10 or lesser awakening values are considered people who are abandoned by God. They are detested and hated by God. 3,000 years have passed, and everyone still relies on God's power except for Ye Bei. Even though he can't awaken, he obtained an unknown system in which he can check others' system information, and for him, it's a blessing in disguise. At that moment, he tried to check Lai Yao's information and it stated positive facts about her. Ye Bei is a person that was transmigrated by a system, and his goal is to become the strongest by grinding and defeating monsters to advance in level. Ye Bei left the school with the thought that he would make all of these people shocked and awe on the big awakening day, which would be about 100 days from now. He has a strong sense of self-assurance that he can develop without God's assistance. When he checks his system information, he is only level 1, and his strength, defense, agility, and wisdom are also 1. Those with weak talent will get caught at a level where they are eternally unable to reach the upper height. Some people must work hard and cultivate themselves in order to get stronger. But Ye Bei only needs to eliminate monsters to earn experience points, which will enable him quickly improve his combat agility. Ye Bei will begin grinding today, and his route to grinding will start with these ants. He began to destroy the ants one by one, but this only gave him 0.01 experience per execution, and the system advises him to utilize a more efficient level-up strategy. He realized that eliminating this insect one at a time takes time, so he chose to employ an insecticide that would make him move more quickly. While he was enjoying destroying the ants, there was an elderly man and a young child behind him wondering what he was doing. The elderly man warned the young child against following Ye Bei because he believed that Ye Bei was only playing with ants for amusement. The system alerted Ye Bei that he had already slain 100 ants and had activated a hidden mission called the Ants' Public Enemy, which required him to eliminate 10,000 ants in 24 hours. He will get Ants' Great Strength skill book as a reward once he accepts the quest and complete it successfully. Without any hesitations, Ye Bei accepted the mission. After an hour, he is exhausted and totally agrees with the system's assertion that getting rid of ants to the lowest level takes time and effort. Even so, he was still able to level up and earn 2 attribute points. He began to consider where he should add these qualities, and since the mission's reward is the ant's great strength, he opted to add the 3 agility points to his strength. As a result, he now has a lot of energy and is more eager to execute insects. When the old man and his grandchild returned to the area where Ye Bei had sprayed some ants, they believed that Ye Bei had gone insane for spraying for over an hour. Once more, the elderly man urged his grandchild to do well in school and stay away from people like Ye Bei. Meanwhile, Ye Bei completes his mission of executing 10,000 ants. When he checked the new title he received, he discovered that any ant race's public enemy is their ability to become enraged and go insane when they detect a player's scent. Afterward, will attack the player. Players have a huge edge over the ant race because they can reduce enemy fighting abilities by 50%. The ant's great strength is to increase strength by 10 times in 3 minutes. If he used this skill when he came across an opponent who was equally strong as him, the opponent might be easily defeated. After obtaining the skill, Ye Bei was relieved that his time wasn't wasted. He instantly clicked Learn Skill, and the system began to flash onto his face. He then made the decision to investigate the skill's effectiveness on the tree in front of him. He began to concentrate as he set up his body, and used his strength to punch the 3, leaving it bald. Then he understood that even Mike Tyson wouldn't be able to defend against it if he were hit with it. The following day, Ye Bei is about to be thrown another rock as he walks toward the school, but he catches it this time without bothering to glance at it. The bullies at their school once more degraded him as a person abandoned by God and told him to get lost, but Ye Bei didn't budge and kept standing where he was. He held the rock and broke it in front of the bullies, causing them to be shocked by what they witnessed. Ye Bei releases his back and rushes to the bully's leader and punches him in the chest without any hesitation. The bully is in agony and finds it hard to comprehend how Ye Bei is still strong given that he has been rejected by God. He reminded the bullies of 2 things before leaving. Firstly, he will become an Awakener, and secondly, if these guys ever try to provoke him again, he won't go easy next time. Those who aren't happy can come out now, Ye Bei stated, causing them to feel frightened and run away. Lai Yao is observing Ye Bei from above, and even Lai Yao was taken aback by his strength even before he awakens. Afterward, Ye Bei then showed up at the school, wherein their instructor informed the students that King City had just experienced a faceless man incident, and advised them to be extremely careful and cautious before they all get eliminated by the law enforcement team. Students should not move alone. Faceless Man is a D-rank creature. They got the name because they don't have the facial feature. They are tall and has huge body filled with cement substance. In order to avoid being pursued and executed by the Faceless Man, humans should never attempt to look at his face when they come across it. Despite the Faceless Man being strong, its movement is slow, and if anyone discovers it, they need to contact the law enforcement team right away, as per the professor. Upon hearing it, Ye Bei realized that the world is becoming increasingly hostile, and that he needed to fast build up his strength, and ants could no longer satisfy his requirement. When the night comes in Ye Bei's house, he was holding a knife and uses it as a weapon to execute all their chickens, which gives him +1 experience for each assassination. He can acquire more experience by killing white chickens, but he doesn't have enough money to purchase that many of them. Ye Bei acquired a space inventory, a system store, and a gold trade system by eliminating creatures with combat abilities. He subsequently came to the realization that executing creatures with combat ability would enable the system to reveal a secret function. He attempted to use the gold trade system, which converts gold to real money. He will acquire more experience and wealth as he engages more creatures with combat ability. As expected, the correct method to use the system is to execute stronger enemies. Ye Bei can execute more white chickens now since he has the money, and this is another step he will take to get stronger. With his money in hand, Ye Bei quickly went to the market, paid the vendor for all the chickens, and went to an alley where no one else could see him. Using his knife, he executed all these chickens one by one, and his level was upgraded by level 3 and obtained 2 undistributed attribute points. At this stage, the amount of experience he will gain by executing chickens is low. While he was still deliberating, he heard footsteps coming from behind him. When he turned around, he noticed a young child watching him. The child immediately started to cry and flee in terror because of Ye Bei's appearance while holding the knife. Suddenly, the child's mother came holding a sweeper while accusing Ye Bei of bullying his daughter. Ye Bei tried to explain and convince her that there had been a major misunderstanding, but she rejected Ye Bei and beat him with a sweeper. Ye Bei screamed in pain and now resembles a withered plant. He then comes to the conclusion that executing chickens to level up would take too long and expose him to the risk of being called a pervert. Therefore, he needs to find a quick alternative method of leveling up. Ye Bei, who was lying on the ground, overheard two men discussing about the slaughterhouse. Ye Bei then decides that it would be wise to visit the location in order to level up. Ye Bei interrupted the two guys while they were having a conversation and approached them while still holding his knife, causing them to run in fear. Even though Ye Bei's main goal was to inquire about the slaughterhouse, he has once again been misinterpreted. Ye Bei visited the slaughterhouse on the same day in order to apply for a job and gave the proprietor a CV. The owner claimed that his establishment was merely a tiny business, but Ye Bei insisted that he only wanted to work with him for a fruitful business agreement and didn't need any money. Ye Bei intends to purchase a sizable quantity of poultry, ducks, and cows in order to stock up on nutrition and get ready for awakening. To get nutrients. But how much can you eat alone? The owner asked. Ye Bei said that he has a large group of classmates, therefore there is no need to be concerned because he won't lose a single penny. After that, Ye Bei requested something from the owner, and that is to train his guts. Ye Bei was welcomed by the owner and immediately began executing white chickens. He feels fantastic as this is the best way for him to level up. There are other enormous creatures in this area besides the chicken that can aid him in gaining additional experience. He rushes to the cow with his knife in hand. The cow jumped in fear, but Ye Bei wouldn't let it get away and was very determined to execute it by hand regardless of what happened. Ye Bei chases after the cow as it flees and eventually corners it with nowhere to go. Ye Bei jumped and hit the cow, causing it to be executed. He was very satisfied after it as he gains plus 30 experience from the cow. When the owner saw him, he was shocked since Ye Bei has adapted to the slaughterhouse quickly. Ye Bei was standing when he heard a strange noise. He asked the owner what it was, and the owner said that it was a ferocious beast, a single-eyed wolf. Ye Bei feels excited after hearing it, and since he didn't see one before, he asked the owner to take him to the beast. It is a large wolf with a fiery single eye and sharp fangs. The system shows that the wolf is currently level 10 with a 120 combat ability. Ye Bei is alarmed by the creature's strength and speed despite being severely hurt. According to target information, if the host comes into contact with one, they won't even be able to flee. Instead, they will become its food. The owner stated that this wolf has been caught by his relatives and it has great nutrients and can be sold for a high price. Ye Bei is thinking that he must buy this wolf and use it to level up, so he asked the owner how much could be the possible price. The owner answered that it's 50,000 since it is high-rank goods. Ye Bei doesn't have this amount of cash, but if he were to execute this ferocious beast, he will have enough money, so he planned to kill this one-eyed world right away. He asked the owner if it was okay to train his guts, but the owner warned him that it was dangerous, so he should not try anything stupid. As hard-headed, Ye Bei still prepared his knife to attack the beast. This weapon is his trump card and it has plus 10 of attack power. He was eager on slaughtering the beast since he thought doing so would help him gain more level-up experience. The beast began to roar and act erratically. Ye Bei summons Ant's great strength, charges the beast, and uses his knife to execute it. Ye Bei boosted himself for being a brave person, and the owner was amazed at how Ye Bei executed the single-eyed wolf with just a small knife. As expected, because of the ferocious beast, Ye Bei earned an outstanding reward that let him level up twice. Moreover, he acquired a wolf claw with a plus 50 attack power. He can't utilize it right away because he's only level 5, while level 10 is the requirement. The owner immediately asked Ye Bei for 50,000 cash for executing his ferocious beast, and at this time, Ye Bei can be able to pay for it. He also asked the owner that if he will capture another ferocious beast in the future, he should notify Ye Bei. Ye Bei attended his class the following day, and their professor educated them about the two professions, which are martial artist and pharmacist. According to him, these two professions exist to support awakening. Martial artists fight, and pharmacists to heal wounds. While the professor is discussing, Ye Bei's mind is away from the lecture. He's thinking about the system store with some good equipment, but he doesn't have enough money to buy it yet. Suddenly, someone taps him. It's Lai Yao asking why he was not writing down notes, and he reminded Ye Bei that the lecture will be of big help to awakeners. Ye Bei confidently replied to Lai Yao that he will definitely be awakened, so she don't need to worry about it. Because of that, Lai Yao wonders why Ye Bei is very confident this time. While they are talking, someone threw chalk at Ye Bei's head and he was scolded by his professor for chit-chatting during the class. After the class is dismissed, Ye Bei walks into the hallway and Lai Yao is following him because Lai Yao thinks that Ye Bei might be under a lot of stress, and as a class representative, she wanted to help other students including Ye Bei. She was still following Ye Bei outside the school, and Ye Bei suddenly acted excitingly, so she thinks she might overthink things. When Ye Bei arrives at the slaughterhouse, Lai Yao is still chasing him. She opened the gate and tried to see things inside, but suddenly, she fainted. When she started to open her eyes, she saw someone who was going to hold his breast, so he immediately gets up and slaps Ye Bei, which caused him to feel to the ground. Lai Yao misinterpreted Ye Bei and thought that he was a pervert. Ye Bei was executing a pig, yet Lai Yao suddenly came in and then fainted. He was not aware that Lai Yao will get fainted by just seeing blood. He explained that he was about to press Lai Yao's breast portion to help her wake up. Lai Yao told him to stop explaining things, as she doesn't also know that Ye Bei is executing a pig. She asked Ye Bei why he was assassinating a pig in this place, and Ye Bei lied that he had no choice because he was poor and could only get part-time work as a butcher. He also questioned Lai Yao as to why she was there, but Lai Yao was unable to admit that she was worried about Ye Bei and instead made up an explanation that she had come to let him know about the upcoming museum visit tomorrow. "Don't worry, you already personally came. I will definitely give you the face and go," Ye Bei stated. Lai Yao bid Ye Bei farewell and urged him not to discuss what had transpired in this location since she felt embarrassed. The next day, students will visit the museum to learn more about the history of the Awakener and the origin of the ferocious beast. Ye Bei and Lai Yao are both in attendance for the outing. They both talk about female warrior goddesses. Lai Yao's aspiration is to resemble the goddess, slaying ferocious beasts and guarding people. Suddenly, Ye Bei questioned Lai Yao about her knowledge of gods. Lai Yao replied that she had previously read certain books and that there are remnants of gods everywhere. According to her, they give humans godly power to become awakers and fight with those ferocious beasts. Ye Bei responded that even though the 9 cities were so large and a great number of god statues had been brought to Earth, their city was the only one that lacked one. Lai Yao retorted angrily, "If you had read books before, then you wouldn't ask such a brainless question." Countless years have passed, and other than the 2 statues that descended, they still found many other god statues. Other than an unknown statue that didn't have any changes, others all developed awakeners, and there has been nothing regarding God found in their city. Lai Yao also added that their city is known as the God Abandoned Land. Ye Bei started to think that it was different from his past life, not even one. Their professor informed them that they had already arrived at the museum. When they entered, Lai Yao went straight to the martial gods to admire its portrait. Ye Bei was simply watching her as she discussed some details about the goddess. While they are both standings, Ye Bei pulls Lai Yao's hand and informs her that he has a horrible feeling about the person behind their back. It is quite tall and shrouded in a lavender cloth. Suddenly, the cloth comes off, revealing to the students that the figure in front of them is a faceless man rather than a human. The faceless man began to act frantically and punch the floor of the museum. Ye Bei is running as quickly as he can while carrying Lai Yao. Everyone in the museum began to tremble, and Ye Bei instructed Lai Yao to assist their professor in getting everyone out, as he will return to the faceless man. Lai Yao attempted to stop Ye Bei because she didn't have faith in his ability, but Ye Bei is certain that he can defeat the monster. Ye Bei is certain that he will put the faceless man to death. When he returned to the area where the monster is standing, he noticed that the faceless man held one student, and the student shouted for help. This faceless man is a level 7 monster and has a great defense and a potent power. Ye Bei believes that it shouldn't be difficult to cope with this monster because he has combat skills that are stronger than the faceless man and is both quick and skilled. With incredible speed, Ye Bei leaped at the creature. There are still few people at the museum, and Ye Bei has to lure the faceless man so others can escape. A faceless man screams in anger and throws cement at Ye Bei, but since he is able to dodge it, the cement throws it into the wall, causing it to have a big hole. Ye Bei checked the broken wall, but he sees girls inside, and he was misunderstood once again. The faceless man won't stop attacking him, and at this time, he cannot hide his true power anymore. He activates Ant's great strength and punches the cement that has been thrown at him by the monster. He began to be in a serious mode and punched the faceless man, causing it to fall and has been covered by the cement. Ye Bei thought that it was already dead, but it suddenly get up and scream. As Ye Bei expected, this faceless man has a scary dents, and he might only defeat it once he will break the dents. He immediately opens the system store to buy a weapon. Upon checking, there are different weapons available, and since the weapon that Ye Bei needs is the one without a level requirement, he decided to purchase the Eternal Sword. At this time, he's not confident that this sword can help him execute this faceless man. He rushes to the monster and attacks it using the sword, and finally, the dents has been broken. He once again activates Ant's great strength and punches the faceless man, causing it to break into pieces until it began to vanish. After a while, Lai Yao is looking for Ye Bei together with the law enforcement team. When she arrived at Ye Bei, she asked where the faceless man is, and Ye Bei answered that it was all over the wall, which is the tint spreading to the wall. After executing a faceless man, Ye Bei obtained plus 360 experience and leveled up to level 6. He also obtained 400 gold and 5 attribute points. The enforcement team can't believe that Ye Bei beat the faceless man by himself, and Ye Bei boosted once more that it wasn't hard for him. The enforcement told Ye Bei to go back to his school as they need to investigate the scene. Ye Bei goes back to King City 3rd High. The principal Wang Zhengud was also impressed with him. While they are both talking, someone interrupted them and said that it isn't possible to destroy a faceless man alone with bare hands. He's Lai King Shan, the King City Law Enforcement's team leader. While Principal Wang is praising Ye Bei, King Shan is negative and doesn't impress by what Ye Bei did. Instead, he said that he needs to understand the situation. Ye Bei told him that the faceless man was indeed acting strange. It is a type of ferocious beast that moves around alone, and when it was fighting with Ye Bei, it was only moving around in the show lobby like it was looking for something. Because of the information Ye Bei gave, King Shan thanked him and extended his hand, and Ye Bei did so in return. When they both hold hands, Ye Bei feels something strong, so he concludes that King Shan might be checking his power. Ye Bei also does the same thing, and they now both predicted each power. While they are holding hands, one of the law enforcement team came to tell King Shan that the higher-ups ordered an important document and needs his presence. He then let go of Ye Bei's hand and told Ye Bei that he can go and rest. After Ye Bei left, King Shan checked the document and proclaimed everyone trouble is about to come. When Ye Bei got home, he started to eat his meal with a ferocious beast meal, and he was amazed as he still received little dents and strength from it. After he eats, he directly goes to his room and checks the system store. He purchased small and large potions. These 2 new potions can greatly increase his endurance. He decided to try first the small potion to know the feeling, but suddenly, he heard a noise, and when he checked outside his room, he saw a girl sitting on the table. He immediately kicked the girl, but later he knows that it was Lai Yao and was mad because Ye Bei is sitting above her. She slapped Ye Bei, leaving a bruise on his cheeks. Lai Yao entered Ye Bei's house because it was not locked, and she saw such attractive ferocious beast meat on the table. She knew that it can increase the awakening chance. Ye Bei wondered why Lai Yao visits him, and Lai Yao explained that the green light dispersed after Ye Bei destroyed the faceless man, so she thinks that there might be a possibility that the faceless man doesn't move alone but is controlled. While she was talking, she has gone mad because Ye Bei doesn't listen to her. Ye Bei stated that it will be fine now, and he knows that Lai Yao was only worried about other infect beasts that might be hiding in the city, but the higher should be looking into this matter. The law enforcement team came quickly and even sent leader Lai King Shan. Because the faceless man risked being discovered and appearing in the museum, Lai Yao conclude that it's a matter related to King Shan Museum. Very long ago, there was a weak lizard that was very unfortunate and had its tail bitten off. When the lizard come to the lake, it was shocked and discovered that its whole body turned back. Its body gradually grew bigger, and those past neighbors all became its prey. Gradually, not only did it gain wisdom and physique, but also extraordinary power. No creature could resist the corrosion of the black fog on its body, and the strength made all creatures tremble in fear. After thousands of years, it became the unquestionable king beast of that area. But it wasn't satisfied. It wanted to become even stronger. At a further place, it sensed an aura stronger than it. It traveled to the city. It felt that if it were to devour enough humans, it would become stronger. It successfully became the 5th beast king among ferocious beasts. At the same time, the Pope made a move. The newly born beast king was defeated, and the Pope lay down an array and sealed its corpse underneath the city to prevent troubles. And King City is a city that was built on the battlefield wasteland. After Ye Bei heard it from Lai Yao, he then asked if the case of the faceless man may be related to the beast king who died, but Lai Yao stated that there's too less information as of now, so they cannot judge. But even the leader of the law enforcement team has been dispatched, and might not be a trivial matter. Meanwhile, Lai Yao needs to go, so she told Ye Bei to be careful in the future. The next day, the professor of King City 3rd High informed everyone that the faceless man has been eliminated by the law enforcement team. Ye Bei conclude that infected beasts obviously increased, but it seems like it's still controllable. Because of the Beast King, Ye Bei wanted to be stronger. Suddenly, the system notified that when players reach level 10, they can activate professional change. As of now, the livestock provide way too less experience, so Ye Bei should think of another way to level up quicker. The class ended and someone is calling Ye Bei, the owner of the slaughterhouse, to inform him that he have a rare beast this time. A ferocious beast, 3-headed griffin, and the price for one male is 800,000 and 500,000 for a female. Since Ye Bei needs to level up, he told the owner to save it for him even though he still lacks money. While he was thinking about how to find a big amount of money, Lai Yao approached him to ask why he always looks distracted. Ye Bei then asked her about a part-time job that pays a huge amount. "Help me do something. I'll transfer you the money," Lai Yao said. He never expected Lai Yao to be rich. Since he wanted to get more money to pay the ferocious beast, he accepted Lai Yao's offer, and Lai Yao told him that he needs to accompany Lai Yao for the whole day.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more content like this. Leave a comment for the next part, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
The next day, there was a statue of a well-known gods of Jehovah and Zeus. Lai Yao prays upon the statue. At the church, Ye Bei gazes at the statue to feel revered. Ye Bei believed that Jehovah and Zeus were magnificent gods, that the earth would likely become a haven of ferocious beasts if the mentioned gods didn't exist. Ye Bei felt a little shy for Lai Yao, who asked to borrow some money to be accompanied at the prayer class. Lai Yao gave Ye Bei a reminder that a prayer class increases the chances of awakening. Too bad Ye Bei has been skipping the class, that it made his power remain dormant. Lai Yao then assures to Ye Bei that if he perhaps awaken, Lai Yao could be a benefit by lending Ye Bei some good luck. But Ye Bei is more concerned of the capitalism wherein they have to spend 5,000 just to gain a bit of good luck. As Ye Bei turned around, he noticed a student who prays upon a portrait. Ye Bei became curious if praying to a portrait will also work. Lai Yao gave another lecture to Ye Bei that most people pray to statues and portraits because primal gems are precious, but there aren't many in the whole world. But Ye Bei doesn't have any idea what the primal gems are. Lai Yao got irritated since everything she had said was actually discussed in their class, but Ye Bei always skips it. Even so, Lai Yao still explained it. Primal gems are stones radiated by statues of gods, imbued with a hint of divine power, and that statues were crafted with primal gems possesses some divine power and blessed believers. And by the natural laws of prayers, it will increase the chances of awakening if the person was praying sincerely. But in Ye Bei's case, he's an atheist who just wanted to level up and become stronger. Ye Bei also pondered that despite having so many gods around the globe, their culture in China doesn't have any. Ye Bei then asked Lai Yao again if there are any myths or legends in Chinese gods. Sadly, the country China was land abandoned by the gods, and there were no myths and legends whatsoever. Ye Bei finds it strange that how come China, being so vast, that doesn't have any, yet every civilization has legends of gods associated with their lands. Ye Bei had a theory that maybe China really has an urban legend, but it was rather ruptured, lost, or even erased. Ye Bei had a thought in his mind that since he had come to a world as a Chinese person, he has a responsibility to seek the truth of their land. Ye Bei then says his farewell to Lai Yao as he thought of making a move in an instant. Lai Yao was curious about Ye Bei, who still doesn't pray. But with pure confidence in his soul, Ye Bei looked at Lai Yao with sparkling eyes and told her that he will assure to surpass the gods someday. But Lai Yao thinks Ye Bei was insane for his pure audacity. Ye Bei left the church to enhance his strength rather than be a part of a capitalist system. Later on, Ye Bei went to a dark and musty place. There were dim lights and a sound of an owl hooing, and a mysterious symbol sticking to a jail bar. And it turns out, the birds were a three-headed male and female griffin who's at a level 20, a battle power of 1,500. The three-headed griffins possessed each lightning, fire, and wind attributes. The system notification gave a warning to not get too close because the creature will quickly respond. The owner of the shop gladly introduced to Ye Bei his high-quality three-headed griffins. Ye Bei finds it terrifying that such a beast could possess a power over thousands, yet the faceless man's battle power was at 85. Ye Bei remembered about the three ferocious beasts that the shop owner had mentioned, but the shop owner quickly changed the subject to the three-headed griffins. Ye Bei promised that he'll transfer the money shortly, but he has one more agenda of wishing to meet the capture team. The shop owner wondered what the agenda of Ye Bei could be. With a genuine thought, Ye Bei confessed that he wanted the help of the capture team in the future to hunt the ferocious beasts. With pure determination of the way, Ye Bei explained that he dreamed of slaying the ferocious beasts and condensed the heart of invincibility. The shop owner looked at him like he's a complete idiot. But the shop owner just tried to understand him since Ye Bei's a customer. He then reminded him to wait since the capture team will arrive a bit later. Ye Bei gazes at the three-headed griffins. Ye Bei realized that with his current strength, he'll be finished in front of the three-headed griffins. He knew it would be safer to wait for the haunting team. He then asked a favor to the shop owner to remind him once the haunting team arrived. Later that night at Ye Bei's home, Ye Bei took a steamy shower. He gracefully sings as he enjoyed his bath, until he heard a loud intrusion. Ye Bei was so curious with the distracting sound that he thought someone outside was a tank rolling. Even though the city wasn't safe, Ye Bei still decided to investigate the noise. As he opened the door, the noise came to him instead. His door was completely destroyed, and two robots were found inside his home. And another mysterious event when a small dinosaur was thrown at the door while the robot was shooting the dinosaur. Ye Bei was completely confused. He then looked thoroughly outside with thick smoke coming in. And the first thing Ye Bei saw was a pink-haired woman who's caught in the middle of action. The woman was named Luo Yang, an adventure hunting team member, and a daughter of Luo Qingshan. But her presence made Ye Bei furious after she called him a pervert. In Ye Bei's defense, Luo Yang was at the wrong after smashing his door and got the nerve to argue. But Luo Yang still thinks Ye Bei was a pervert as she looked down on Ye Bei's wiener. Ye Bei then realized that he was completely naked when his towel stripped down. Ye Bei felt so awkward with their misunderstanding interaction. Enough said, Luo Yang decided to pack things up and move along since Ye Bei doesn't interest her in a conversation. She then glared back at Ye Bei that she and the rest brought the final three-headed griffin, and if ever Ye Bei still got more concern, they'll be at the slaughterhouse. Moments later, Ye Bei went to the slaughterhouse and the bald man introduced a man next to Luo Yang. The man was named Luo Qingshan, the father of Luo Yang. Ye Bei doesn't have a doubt in his mind. By the presence of Luo Qingshan, he gave a sense of oppression to Ye Bei. Luo Qingshan also introduced his daughter, which made Ye Bei furious for her violent approach earlier. Kian, the bald guy, mentioned Ye Bei's intention to Luo Qingshan and made him curious about being summoned. Ye Bei straightforwardly told Qingshan that wishes to have many ferocious beasts and hoped he could collaborate with the hunting team. Ye Bei explained his reasons that he has a hereditary technique that requires the slaughter of ferocious beasts to let the blood forge his invincible heart. As usual, the three of them thought of how idiotic Ye Bei was, especially for Kian, who allowed Ye Bei to meet the hunting team. Qingshan tried to be honest and nice as possible that Ye Bei might have been deceived since he never heard of such methods. Because of Ye Bei's statement, not only he was a pervert to Luo Yang's eyes, but he also gained an impression to be a crazy person. Ye Bei heard Luo Yang and became triggered in an instant. But since Ye Bei paid for the three-headed griffins, Qingshan wondered if Ye Bei still wishes to kill it. Ye Bei confirmed that he still intends to kill the griffins, but he couldn't due to his lacking in strength. He then asked a favor to Qingshan if he could weaken the griffin until on its last breath. Qingshan immediately accepted the favor. Qingshan fearlessly faces the three-headed griffins. The three-headed griffins he faced was the female ones, and so far, the griffins didn't react by his presence. Qingshan glared at the three-headed griffins and instantly counterattacked it. The three-headed griffins stumbled on the ground, but it managed to get up on its feet. As their defense, the three-headed griffins screeched to make a dubious sound for their opponents. Qingshan recognized it as a lion's soar, but he seemed to be not too affected by it. But the situation was different for Luo Yang and Kian, who was struggling with the screeching noise. Until Luo Yang noticed Ye Bei. Ye Bei wasn't bothered at all, as if he could endure the noise. The way Ye Bei acted gave Luo Yang a hint that he might have some strength after all. Qingshan then jumped. As he ascended, he clenched his fist as he gets closer to the three-headed griffin. He was about to give a mighty punch, until he smacked the one griffin on its head. The griffin with a red eye got herself a bleeding head. Qingshan left the jail without being bothered, nor the griffins attempting to touch him. Ye Bei was impressed by Qingshan's performance, who didn't even struggle a little. Ye Bei finally faces the three-headed griffins, who was knocked out. Ye Bei attempted to punch its head, but it only gave Ye Bei an embarrassing outcome when a notification popped up that his power was too low to break the defense. Luo Yang made fun of Ye Bei by calling him a bean sprout who just wasted his energy. But then she realized she was wrong, when Ye Bei continuously punched the three-headed griffins without giving up. While Ye Bei sticks with his method, Luo Yang noticed that Ye Bei's power was also continuously increasing. Qingshan didn't expect for Ye Bei to pull something like that, even though he's not an Awaken. He then thought of the methods that Ye Bei mentioned earlier, and thought it could be true. As Ye Bei kept punching, he believed in himself that he gained a 10 times power. He set aside the negative mindset that he won't be able to break the defense, until he got on his last punch. A notification appeared that he finally killed the three-headed griffins and gained an experience of 7,000 points and a gold worth 3,500. He realized when he kept punching the griffins, he got leveled up. Ye Bei got a reward PF21 freely allocatable attribute points. Ye Bei also acquired a new skill, which was the Lion's Roar, that consumes half the stamina, unleashing 3 times the combat power in one roar and attacking all enemies in front. Ye Bei analyzes his personal data and thoroughly thinks about how he could use an AoE skill. But in the end, Ye Bei was delighted that he got leveled up. Qingshan and Luo Yang says their farewell, but Qingshan admired Ye Bei's performance and advises him to train by at least 20% since Qingshan saw a potential in Ye Bei. As the father and daughter walked away, Qingshan open-heartedly offered Ye Bei to come to the Qingshan blacksmith if he ever wishes to improve. Ye Bei felt welcome as he said his goodbye. As the father and daughter goes further, Liu Yang wanted to open up a conversation regarding Yi performance. Since Kingshan was also intrigued, he suddenly stopped walking. Kingshan agreed with his daughter. Kingshan saw the potential of Ye Bei as soon as he felt Yi aura getting strong right after he killed the three-headed griffin. The next cloudy day, at Ye Bei's home, Ye Bei was busy with his sword. He realized how hassle it was right after he killed the three-headed griffins. The creature was so big that he decided to chop it all off by bits, but at least Ye Bei got something to eat for a while. Until he got a call. As he answered the phone, Lai Yao was yelling at him for missing a class for a whole day. But Ye Bei seemed to be not bothered with his class performance, yet he decided to confess something to Lai Yao. Meanwhile at school, a random guy got startled with the way Lai Yao reacted on Ye Bei's confession. Lai Yao thought of it as a major issue that she decided to head to Ye Bei's place. Lai Yao kept bad-mouthing Ye Bei as she sprints. Meanwhile at Ye Bei's house, he prepared a delicious meal. Turns out, the reason why Lai Yao was in a hurry because Ye Bei threatened her that he'll munch all the food. But in the end, the two of them was too stuffed with the meal. While Lai Yao felt like she was in cloud 9, she couldn't believe Ye Bei borrowed some money to buy a three-headed griffin. Ye Bei also didn't expect that someone who's poised and a class monitor would want to eat a three-headed griffin. Lai Yao felt embarrassed and instantly came up with a reason that monster meat could improve a physical fitness. But Ye Bei only laughed at her, which made Lai Yao more triggered. Ye Bei laughed hysterically when he thought that a class monitor would actually lead the class in skipping school. Ye Bei got smacked by Lai Yao for laughing too much. Moving on, Lai Yao wondered if Ye Bei heard the following today's news. She then explained that the law enforcement team issued a red alert on that morning. The chief guardian of the Jiangnan region has arrived in Qingcheng City to take charge of the work. But unfortunately, the Qingcheng City has a major crisis. Ye Bei sympathizes with Lai Yao because of the uneasiness he felt lately for the class monitoring. He could predict that something's about to happen. Ye Bei asked Lai Yao about what she was doing. Lai Yao then pulled a notebook and presented it on the table. Lai Yao actually just wanted to give Ye Bei some lessons since they couldn't go back to school. But Ye Bei seemed displeased to study. Lai Yao was just concerned because of how illiterate Ye Bei was, even if it's just a common knowledge. Ye Bei begged Lai Yao like a bratty child that he didn't want to study. Later that evening, Lai Yao was glad that the extra lessons went well, but for Ye Bei, he was totally burnt out. Ye Bei wasn't pleased when he realized he must study more in the future. But Lai Yao was more displeased with Ye Bei's laziness to study. Ye Bei just stayed humble, or their conversation might end up being an argument. Lai Yao gave a friendly goodbye and hoped to see Ye Bei again on the next day. But Ye Bei was a gentleman as he chased Lai Yao to escort her back to her home. Lai Yao insisted that she could walk by herself since it wasn't that far, but the truth was, she's already blushing and flattered. But Ye Bei's more concerned of what danger might come in the dark. In the end, Ye Bei escorted Lai Yao to her home in an awkward distance. Lai Yao couldn't help but to feel strange as she walked with Ye Bei. Lai Yao tried to bring up a delightful conversation by complimenting the beauties of the sunset. But Ye Bei seemed to be too distracted. He then apologized for zoning out. Lai Yao became more embarrassed for attempting to have a wholesome conversation. But Ye Bei couldn't help staring at the dark alley. It was like he could sense something strange in it. But his feeling wasn't really right, to the point that Ye Bei had to convince Lai Yao to stay at his place. Lai Yao took it as a misunderstanding that she couldn't stop being overwhelmed. While in Ye Bei's perspective, he kept hearing a scary clicking sound, until it shifts into a voice of a person counting up to 3, and mentioned a wooden man. Ye Bei was petrified that he had to quickly grab Lai Yao out of danger. The presence he felt earlier was too strange that Ye Bei was certain that it was a monster. Lai Yao became more concerned that she hasn't got any answers from Ye Bei's sudden change of mood. All Ye Bei could explain was that he felt a lot of dangerous presence up ahead, that it would be troublesome to continue. Until the two of them was blocked as they escape. All of a sudden, numerous wooden puppets appeared in front of them. With such terrifying voice, they repeated the words that Ye Bei heard earlier. It was a sudden troublesome experience for the two MC that they couldn't figure out what to do. The wooden puppets felt the joy in their souls when the thought of punishing a human entered their mind. The monsters are called the Wooden Man, who's at level 8, and a combat power of 100. The Wooden Man just wanted to play with their victims. But once the rule of the game was broken, the player will be turned into a Wooden Man. After Ye Bei saw the personal data of the Wooden Man, he gained confidence because of the monster's level being at 100. Lai Yao immediately participated and asked Ye Bei if they could just break through. Ye Bei assures to Lai Yao that he could take care of the situation immediately without breaking through. But Lai Yao really wanted to help. Ye Bei cuts Lai Yao in the middle of her sentence and advised her to cover her ears because of the lion's roar he's about to do. The Wooden Man attacks all at once, while Ye Bei deeply huffed to release the roar. As he released it, a figure of a lion appeared behind him that symbolizes that he successfully performed his skill. all the wooden man was blown away. Due to the strong forces of the roar, not only they were blown away, but their bodies got dismembered. And with one hit, Ye Bei was in victory. Lai Yao became terrified yet impressed that Ye Bei suddenly became powerful. Since Ye Bei's a winner, he gained another experience points and golds, but the first thing he thought was that he couldn't eat the wooden man. Ye Bei realized that he couldn't even make use of the wood since technology in the modern world allows people to not need firewood. But something had caught Ye Bei's eye. When a glowing gold bead appeared in front of him, he didn't have any idea what the purpose of it could be. As Lai Yao analyzes the bead, she recognized it as the core memory of the wooden man. The core has a strong vitality and could be used as medicine for awakeners. It could also fetch for a good price. Ye Bei's eyes sparked when he realized he had just hit the jackpot by selling the core memory. Lai Yao called out Ye Bei for being a bit greedy, but she promised that she'll never compete against Ye Bei. For a moment, Ye Bei was living to the fullest, until a man approaches him. The three men who seemed to be on duty warned Ye Bei for being outside at night. The blonde man was named Ye Jiawen. But then he got distracted by the defeated wooden man and realized Ye Bei and Lai Yao must be responsible for it. Lai Yao corrected Jiawen that Ye Bei was the only one who took down all of the wooden man. Jiawen and his companion were all terrifyingly impressed with Ye Bei. Ye Bei then proudly introduced himself full of pride. Jiawen overly reacted when he realized that Ye Bei was the one who defeated the faceless man before. But Jiawen turned Ye Bei's achievement about himself since he and Ye Bei have the same surname. Jiawen then introduced himself as the captain of the 6th team. He was so impressed that he could see Ye Bei's potential to become a level 9 powerhouse in the future. Ye Bei humbly thought of how kind Jiawen was, but deep down he doesn't care about level 9 because of his goal of surpassing the gods. As for Lai Yao, she's more concerned with the possibility of drifting further away from Ye Bei if ever he became part of the level 9 powerhouse. After their brief interaction, Jiawen thinks it would be best if Lai Yao and Ye Bei would head home quickly since Qingcheng City's been restless. Later that night, the two of them got home safely. But Ye Bei still insisted on walking Lai Yao to her home. Before Lai Yao opens the door, she gave Ye Bei a heads up regarding the Monster King having its eyes on the dark magic lizard's corpse in Qingcheng City. Ye Bei doesn't feel threatened at all as he believed that there's always a solution when the time comes. From Lai Yao's perspective, she kept pacing out as she thanked Ye Bei for saving her. She immediately slammed the door afterward. Ye Bei finds it unusual that he thought he might have offended Lai Yao. But for Lai Yao, all she could ever think of was being left behind since Ye Bei's been improving. Later that night, Ye Bei heads to the slaughterhouse underground. Luo Yang couldn't see much of how Ye Bei boasted about his family's techniques. Ye Bei's thoughts, despite the wooden man and a male griffin he defeated, still think it wasn't enough to level up. He then asked Luo Yang about the time she caught a boss-level griffin for him to gain knowledge. Until Qingshan walks in. Qingshan then pulled a thick large cloth to reveal in front of Ye Bei that he caught a boss-level 3-headed griffin level 22 with a combat power of 1,900. Luo Yang teases Ye Bei that he might be a coward to face the Griffin King. Qingshan gave Ye Bei a heads up that despite the griffin only having one breath left, there was a possibility that Ye Bei might lose against the creature. Luo Yang doesn't stop pulling Ye Bei down by trying to convince him that he won't succeed. But Ye Bei has the full determination to try his best. Ye Bei instantly counterattacked the griffin, but unfortunately, his knife broke because of the griffin's thick skin. Luo Yang laughed hysterically thinking she was right all along. But Ye Bei noticed something as he counterattacked the griffin. Ye Bei realized that without using the heavenly sword, it would be hard for him to break through the king griffin's defense, yet Ye Bei could feel the creature's breath. Ye Bei took a deep breath and concentrates as he attempts to feel the 3-headed griffin's weak point. The 3-headed griffins became more fierce than ever as they glared at Ye Bei. The griffins were about to attack, but Ye Bei already calculated the perfect time to annihilate the 3-headed griffins. He once again pulled his broken knife, and with one swing, the 3-headed griffins were defeated by Ye Bei's broken knife and tactics. Luo Yang was too stunned to speak, but Qingshan was more impressed when he realized Ye Bei comprehended the muscle-pounding breathing. He didn't expect for Ye Bei to be so talented. After the 3-headed griffins were defeated, Ye Bei gained an experience and gold points for 15,000. He even gained 1 plus point for his level and 9 freely distributable attribute points. Ye Bei also obtained another reward of Griffin battle armor. Ye Bei was so satisfied to be the first person to kill the boss Griffin, and he was even rewarded with a boss treasure chest. The three of them went silent after Ye Bei successfully annihilated the Griffin despite underestimating and doubting him in the first place. But Qingshan's different. He was still impressed with Ye Bei, who was able to comprehend the muscle-pounding breathing. Ye Bei jokingly brags about being a genius, but deep down he couldn't tell Qingshan that he has a system. Kaiyan was startled as Ye Bei calls for his name. But then Ye Bei remembered that he just obtained the Griffin battle armor, and he had a thought in his mind about what he'll use it for. All of a sudden, Ye Bei ran away as he promised to transfer the money to Kyan. The three of them were weirded out by Ye Bei, who suddenly runs away. From Ye Bei's perspective, he was just too excited to try on his new boss's treasure. Later that night, in Ye Bei's home, Ye Bei puts on the armor and finds it quite impressive for having an incredible defense, and could even fly. But too bad the armor won't be able to penetrate the heavenly sword for a while. But then Ye Bei wondered what the purpose of the village establishment token could be. He noticed the token after obtaining the boss's treasure chest. As Ye Bei admires the token, he knew it would be necessary to establish his influence. But on that night, Ye Bei was more focused on celebrating his success in reaching level 10. He immediately calls for the system to change his job, and with one call away, the system instantly initiated Ye Bei's command. Ye Bei was enthralled when he witnessed all the other job choices, such as mage, which is a long-range profession, and uses magic to explore the truth of the universe, and the warrior, a profession in which a person has proficient in various weapons, overflowing with combat intent, and surpassing limits. And last, the Buddhist monk, who's compassionate and merciful, enlightening all beings, furious gaze of the Vajra, and eradicating evil. The system then gave Ye Bei time to choose a profession that was admired by Ye Bei. But one profession was chosen, and Ye Bei believed he would be a perfect fit for the job. The system instantly detected Ye Bei's selection, and the profession was warrior. Ye Bei felt the sudden change in his internal organs, such as the muscle, meridians, and bones. The purpose of the change was to strengthen Ye Bei to make him a perfect fit as a warrior. But the side effects of his dream were quite terrifying, as it agonizes Ye Bei. Ye Bei kept yelling as he felt severe pain in his body, like he was struck by lightning. Although Ye Bei struggled, he could feel the surge of power throughout his body. After Ye Bei made up his mind about his career choice, he took a nice steamy bath. Even though he's still skinny, he gained 900 points of combat power, 1+ points to his agility, defense, and intelligence. Since Ye Bei got his combat power tripled, he could finally easily defeat King Griffin. Ye Bei chose to relax, yet he still thought of how difficult for ordinary monsters to provide him with some experience points. He then thought it was now his time to go out to the wilderness. Moments later, Ye Bei decided to head for a main quest. Ye Bei's main quest was called the Path of the War God. The content of the quest was for Ye Bei to gain recognition and admiration from at least 10 million people for his martial arts. The system will evaluate Ye Bei as a warrior, whose fame should resound throughout the world and be admired by all. It will be his first step to be a war god. The system also provided Ye Bei with a side quest called Show Your Edge, where he must slay 20 beasts above level 10. The evaluation will show Ye Bei's process and embark on the path of a warrior. Ye Bei will also be rewarded 1,000 gold coins and 15,000 experience points. Ye Bei smirked as he realized the system gave him perfect timing by forcing him to be out to the wilderness. Despite being fully aware of the possible risks, Ye Bei would rather experience the dangers of the wilderness. The next day at the Kingshan City Adventurers Guild, Ye Bei admires the skyscraper. It was Ye Bei's first time stepping foot at the place where wilderness exploration quests are issued. As Ye Bei wanders around the place, he noticed a man who is the center of attention and urgently seeks an individual who has wind attributes. The man assures him that the price of hunting the Golden Winged Tiger King will be negotiable. Then there's also another man who seeks an individual who could help him collect 100 snake gallbladders from 10,000 snake caves in return for a reward of 8 million earth coins. The man requires the individual to be at least placed at the 2nd rank or higher. Meanwhile, Ye Bei feels the deja vu from his guild in his past life's online game. But Ye Bei noticed that about 80% of the Adventurers Guild members are awakened individuals with a high status. While Ye Bei explores the place to learn more from it, a woman approaches him and addresses him as a little brother with a nice gesture to assist Ye Bei since he's a newbie. The purple-haired woman was named Mainushi, and with a pure heart, she was willing to help a newbie like Ye Bei. But Ye Bei humbly declined She's offer, but then Ye Bei accidentally called she an auntie. She was deeply offended with Ye Bei, who sees her as an older woman. The truth is, Ye Bei just wanted to give she a comeback since he was also offended to be called a little brother even though he's already in his 2nd year. All of a sudden, Ye Bei got himself in trouble by unintentionally beefing with another adventurer. But then an adventurer who seemed to be Luo Yang found Ye Bei at the place. Ye Bei looked back and saw the father and daughter Luo Yanf and Kingshan. Luo Yang was so delighted to see Ye Bei even though she bullies him a lot. But Ye Bei was more delighted to see Kingshan as he idolizes him a lot. Kingshan kept his poise even though he got 2 kids by his side. Kingshan then glared at she and lectured her for her absurd behavior. She instantly listened like she was scared of Kingshan's presence. She immediately walks away, but she dared Ye Bei to be smarter the next time they meet. Ye Bei decided to ask Kingshin about his curiosity when he finds all the people in the Adventurer Guild to be weird. Kingshin informed Ye Bei that it was just natural for the people to have an intense nerve, especially when the people in the guild have been in the wilderness for so long fighting for death. But Kingshin was more curious about Ye Bei's presence. Ye Bei, who's a bit shy, confessed to Kingshin that he just wanted to experience the wilderness. Luo Yang interfered with the conversation to bully Ye Bei by telling him that he doesn't have the nerve or strength, and he'll be eaten alive in a second. But then Ye Bei teases Luo Yang back by calling her names like a violent woman who's no better than him. In the end, their teasing and jokes provoked the childish behavior that they dared each other to fight. They became the center of attention, so the crowd gathered up to watch them fight, but Kingshin wasn't pleased with their ignorance, until the two of them were embarrassingly carried by Kingshin like they were babies. Moments later, Kingshin gave the two of them a lump for their recklessness. Kingshin was more concerned about Ye Bei's situation even though he wasn't aware of his powerful skills. Kingshin thought it would have been better if Ye Bei didn't cause any trouble since the Adventurers Guild is full of dragons and crouching tigers. Ye Bei was bored, but he had no choice but to try and understand Kingshin. Kingshin does believe that experiencing the wilderness would be a great advantage for Ye Bei to improve his skills and strength, but he agreed with what Luo Yang said earlier about how dangerous the wilderness was. But Ye Bei doesn't care about the danger. He even became more intrigued that he wishes for Kingshin to tell his story based on his experience in the wilderness. Kingshin was already annoyed, but then he decided to tell his story for Ye Bei to shut up. But then the story shifts when Ye Bei went out with his thunderstruck arrival. His arrival was too showy with his ultimate thunder lightning attribute. That killed most of the rats at the place called the Red-Eyed Giant Rat. The next day, Ye Bei enjoyed his roasted pork in the middle of the woods. He was so satisfied and full to munch on the fresh monster meat that he found it so tender. But then Ye Bei suddenly sensed danger. He instantly got alerted and he immediately summoned his lightning attribute on his spear. To his surprise, he saw a predator who was about to attack him. Ye Bei grabbed his spear until the tiger felt weird that Ye Bei suddenly disappeared in front of him when in fact, Ye Bei instantly dashed to the tiger's blind spot until the tiger was struck by Ye Bei's lightning. The system notified Ye Bei that he had just defeated the golden winged tiger who was at level 15 with a combat power of 900. But then the system informed Ye Bei that it was a group of tigers and not just a single one. Ye Bei was deeply confused with the system's statement about the group of tigers. And all of a sudden, Ye Bei was ambushed by a group of tigers. The tigers were all provoked and furious while Ye Bei thought of a solution to his situation. But the first thing he could think of was to run as fast as he can. Ye Bei didn't expect to be ambushed by outnumbered tigers since he thought tigers were supposed to be solitary. If Ye Bei's situation continued to be unexpectedly chaotic, he had no choice but to use one of his skills. Ye Bei decided that it was his time to use his gear, so he stopped sprinting. He then summoned his gear. And the gear was his reward from the three-headed griffins called the Griffin Battle Armor. As soon as he summoned his armor, it created an explosion that the winged tigers flew away. It was a great time for the armor to be able to fly, or else Ye Bei would be stuck on the ground fighting for his life. Ye Bei became more confident than ever that he dared to challenge the winged tigers to come at him. He glared at the winged tigers with full determination to win. He then summoned his skill called the Ascending Dragon, Descending Phoenix Slash. And all of a sudden, a large amount of thunderstruck was summoned and all of the winged tigers were all affected by the lightning. Until the system appeared to inform Ye Bei that he had just killed the winged tiger that gave him an experience of 2,000 points and a gold of 800 points. The points were all given to Ye Bei based on the number of winged tigers he annihilated. Ye Bei realized that just killing a single winged tiger already gave him 2,000 points. He then imagined himself killing a dozen, which could lead him to level up. Ye Bei pondered if he should go deeper into his adventure to kill more winged tigers, until Ye Bei felt a sudden dizziness. Ye Bei realized that his dizziness was the side effect of his skill that consumes too much stamina that forces him to be weak. Moreover, Ye Bei's wilderness experience was lacking because he had just attracted a large group of golden winged tigers. Ye Bei then decided that he must restore his stamina first before getting into action. However, Ye Bei noticed that the golden winged tigers understood hunting and escaping, and that the ferocious monsters have some quiet intelligence. Minutes later, an innocent prey wanders the woods. Then all of a sudden, the golden winged tiger attacked the deer. But then Ye Bei threw his spear and pierced the tiger in its critical spot. And of course, Ye Bei earned a point for his experience and gold, but unfortunately, the deer died. Ye Bei sympathizes with the deer that he uses as bait to lure the winged tiger. Turns out, the forest was filled with golden winged tigers. That Ye Bei finds it too cunning since the ferocious creatures were all together, and it had become harder for Ye Bei to kill them if each of them was alone. But Ye Bei was desperate to kill a few more to level up. Ye Bei gave up and decided to look for other ferocious monsters aside from the golden winged tiger. until he changed his mind when he saw a lone winged tiger on top of the cliff. He was so excited that he flew instantly to kill the winged tiger. But then his excitement shifts into intimidation as he faces the winged tiger. It turns out, the winged tiger he just approached was a winged tiger king at level 25 with a combat power of 3000. The tiger even can manipulate a mind, and the system recommended that Ye Bei run away since he has no chance to win against the winged tiger king. Until the winged tiger king woke up. Ye Bei was terrified when the winged tiger king saw and felt his presence. He also noticed that the king creature was bigger than the rest. Until the tiger king locked his prey, Ye Bei felt his heartbeat raised when the tiger noticed him. The tiger king slowly approached him with its aura intensity. The tiger king immediately uses his power as it opened the jaws. The tiger king made a purple ball with an unidentified attribute to attack Ye Bei. Ye Bei quickly created a barrier to protect himself from the attack. But as soon as the ball hits him, Ye Bei was still thrown away by the massive power. The tiger king looked at Ye Bei like he was some sort of joke. Meanwhile, on the peaceful side of the forest, some deers minded their own business. Until Ye Bei arrived after being thrown by the tiger king. Ye Bei realized how terrifying it was for him to face the winged tiger king too soon. As he looked up, Ye Bei's chaotic experience doesn't stop there. When a bunch of huge rhinos appeared in front of him ready to crush him, until it hit a slap of reality hits Ye Bei that his luck has been testing him lately. Even though Ye Bei faces another crisis, he still got up and faces the rhinos with zero fear. He drew his spear and attacked from a horizontal and vertical sweep. Ye Bei was relieved that he was able to respond to the sudden attacks. He defeated the outnumbered rhinos in return. He was rewarded with 1,300 experience points and 500 points of gold. Luckily, after Ye Bei encountered the rhinos, he finally leveled up to level 11. But naturally, Ye Bei had just reached his limits as he fumbled on the ground. Another realization hits Ye Bei when he noticed that there are many savage monsters outside the city, yet the government hasn't cleaned it up. Despite being worn out, Ye Bei still ponders whether he leveled up to level 12 before he goes home or he should rest, but then he also realized that the world is filled with danger that needed to be wiped up. Ye Bei analyzes the rhinos and remembered that herbivorous monsters are great for nourishment. He wondered if his inventory could hold the multiple monsters. Ye Bei had time to self-reflect on his recent performance, and he noticed that his strength far surpasses the group of herbivorous monsters, yet he was still struggling to kill it all. Ye Bei then thought of honing his skills, until there was an intrusion in the middle of his self-reflect. Another group of heaven-horned savage bulls had gathered from his opposite direction. Turns out, it was Liu Yang, Kai, and a man fighting the numerous herbivorous monsters. The three of them gathered in a circle to watch each other's blind spots, until one monster decided to counterattack. Liu Yang tried her best to block the attack as she could. Liu Yang instantly calls for his father since she was already struggling to hold him much longer, until the monster's ear flew off. The monster stopped its ruckuses, until it revealed that Kingshan was facing the heaven-horned savage bull king. Kingshan asked a favor to his daughter to hold still for a while so he could annihilate the bull king. The bull king was deeply furious, but it was the wrong timing when Liu Yang was about to be defeated by the monster. Kingshan panicked for his daughter. Unfortunately, Liu Yang was already out of strength. All Liu Yang could do was close her eyes and accept her fate, until the bull was struck by lightning. Ye Bei arrived at the scene and teases Liu Yang, who wasn't able to handle a single monster. But instead of thanking Ye Bei, Liu Yang still called Ye Bei a perverted bean sprout. Even though they were currently facing danger, the two of them decided to bully each other. Until Kingshan approached, the two of them made their argument stopped in an instant. Kingshan decided to rest for a brief time while feeling ashamed that he let his guard down. He revealed that he just wanted to forge a better weapon for Liu Yang, that he targeted the heaven-horned bull king. But Ye Bei, who doesn't think of what he's about to say, suddenly speaks up his mind that Kingshan had just messed up. Until Kingshan puts his weapon against Ye Bei's neck and warned him to better watch his words. But then Kayan and the man were currently struggling against a bunch of bulls that they called for Kingshan's help. The bull king was smart enough to back away after Kingshan scared it off. And as time goes by, the number of heaven-horned bulls increases. Liu Yang realized that their best tactic was to fight their way out instead of killing it all. Kingshan agreed with his daughter, especially with their current state being weakened. Even Liu Yang doesn't care about the risk since she's craving roast beef. Too bad, Kingshan ran out of stamina and felt bad for his daughter, who wanted to give it a shot. Until Ye Bei speaks up that they still have a chance to win. Ye Bei asked if Kingshan could withstand the attack of the bulls for 3 seconds. Luckily, Kingshan could do what Ye Bei imagined, but he was curious about the plan. But they didn't have much time for explanation and hoped for Kingshan to just do what he wanted. Even though it was risky, Kingshan decided to do what Ye Bei told him to do with slight doubt in his mind. Kingshan uses his Cyclone Blade ability to block off the bulls. Ye Bei made his move while Kingshin warned him that once he had done his move, he'll run out of stamina, which would lead them to their death. But Ye Bei assures that he still has enough life yet. Ye Bei is fully aware of the fact that the Heaven-Horned Savage Bulls were endless, that if even Ye Bei leveled up, he still won't be able to withstand all of it. But the only solution to their problem was to capture the Bull King. Ye Bei instantly lands on the back of the Bull King while the Bull King tried to fight him off. Ye Bei uses 10 times the power to knock his opponent off. Suddenly, the Bull King's head was smashed against the ground. The father and daughter dynamic was in shock to unexpectedly witness Ye Bei's talent. Ye Bei once again uses his Ascending Dragon, Descending Phoenix / move, until his lightning attribute produces a dragon figure that made the Bull King terrify. The Bull King tried his best to run for his life, but it was too late when he got struck by a large amount of thunder and lightning. With full confidence, Ye Bei successfully killed the Heaven-Horned Savage Bull King. After the Bull King was beheaded, the 5 of them managed to be alive. Kian was in tears of joy to see his foe who also survived. The brothers hugged and were grateful that they still got each other. But as for the father and daughter that were nonchalant, was embarrassed to see the brothers crying out loud about managing to survive. Ye Bei calls for Kingshin to ask if he could keep the Bull King. Kingshin didn't hesitate to give it away as his gratitude to Ye Bei for saving their lives. Despite the kindness that Kingshin showed, Ye Bei would rather tease Kingshin for being too polite. Kingshin was triggered easily that he felt the urge to teach Ye Bei some hard lessons. Ye Bei informed Kingshin that he wanted to consume the plump Bull King to boost his attributes. But then, Kingshin thought of something regarding Ye Bei's performance. Ye Bei wondered what advice Kingshin would give him. Kingshin noticed the impressive talent that Ye Bei has, but his use of strength was too crude. Kingshin then invited Ye Bei to come over to the blacksmith shop and find him. Kingshin promised that he'll be Ye Bei's teacher to teach him the methods he has been using to harness his strength. After the invitation, Ye Bei was so delighted to spend some time with Kingshin since he sees him so highly with respect. But then Luo Yang interfered the wholesomeness by making fun of Ye Bei's outfit. The next day at the Luo mountain town, Ye Bei arrived in front of the blacksmith shop. As he observed the surroundings, Ye Bei was certain that he had arrived at the right place, until Luo Yang found him standing outside their shop. But Luo Yang didn't greet him to welcome him, but she greeted Ye Bei to show off her combat suit. But not only had the suit, Luo Yang bragged their weapon collection. Ye Bei's response to Luo Yang was that he's not impressed since all the collections was the outcomes of Kingshin's hard work and not Luo Yang's. Luo Yang was deeply offended when Ye Bei spilled the truth that she decided to declare a fight against Ye Bei. But Ye Bei wasn't intimidated by her, and he even dared her to start the fight. Until Kingshin found the 2 of them and ended their ruckuses for always arguing whenever they crossed paths. The 2 of them chose their childish pride that they blamed each other, but it only made Kingshin more annoyed. After Ye Bei and Luo Yang calmed down, Kingshin proceeds to show Ye Bei one of his skills, which is forging a weapon for his daughter. Kingshin will not only forge a weapon, but he will also show Ye Bei how he uses his special method of harnessing power. Kingshin gathered his skills to pour it out on the hammer, and hopefully for Ye Bei to pay attention. As Kingshin slammed the hammer against the steel, the curvy steel became instantly flat with one attempted swing. Ye Bei was mesmerized to witness Kingshin's great power being poured out on forging a weapon. He decided to pay more attention since Kingshin has an extraordinary gift that he willingly wanted to adapt. Until the system popped up to inform Ye Bei that he detected Kingshin's shoulder-held device control power manipulation. The system also detected that Ye Bei learned the elementary mastery of power, which will allow the player to control their own strength with equal force output up to 150 capacities, but with a proficiency of 0/1000. Ye Bei was shocked that he quickly adapted and mastered Kingshin's skill. He then wondered if he should go up to 1000 and continue on upgrading his new acquired skill. Luo Yang noticed that Ye Bei was so mesmerized with his father's talent that she hoped Ye Bei learned something. But then Ye Bei responds with arrogance by calling himself a genius. Luo Yang was deeply irritated with Ye Bei's arrogance, who kept trying to charm her. Later that night, still at the blacksmith shop, Kingshin was finally done forging a weapon, and it resulted as a sword that looked like owned by a mighty knight. Luo Yang's eyes sparked to see her own weapon that she called the Heavenly Horn Fierce Bull Sword, which she named after the Bull King. Luo Yang tried to grab her own sword, but it suddenly possessed by an unknown. The sword levitated and covered with unsettling aura. The sword pointed at Luo Yang like it was trying to aim her. Luckily, it only gave Luo Yang a scratch and the sword missed her. The sword dropped on the floor and it instantly broke. The 3 of them had an expression that couldn't explain what had just happened, with the sword acting like it had a mind of its own. Ye Bei hoped for an explanation about the sword that suddenly breaks on its own. Kingshin explained that the sword acted on its own because the Bull King was too stubborn and still had a hint of fighting spirit and unwillingly to surrender. Kingshin blamed himself that he should have discovered it sooner, so he would have continued to train and completely shatter the Bull King's will. Kingshin apologized for disappointing his daughter because her dream weapon was destroyed. Luo Yang didn't complain, and to ease her father's overthinking, she assured that she's even fine with ordinary weapons since she could still enter the Extreme Martial Arts Institute. Kingshin also felt sorry for making Ye Bei come a long way to show his method of exerting force that it only resulted in him failing to forge a weapon. Ye Bei didn't mind that the weapon was not successfully forged since in the first place, he already learned Kingshin's skill. Kingshin was about to make a speech for Ye Bei to be determined, but then reality hits and shocked him that Ye Bei quickly adapted his methods. Kingshin wanted to make sure if he heard Ye Bei correctly. Ye Bei didn't say anything back and only grabbed a hammer and a sword. With a bright smile on his face, he politely asked Kingshin to critique his mistakes as he will attempt to forge a sword. Ye Bei did the same move that Kingshin showed earlier by gathering all the force and pouring it on the hammer. He then slammed the hammer against the sword, but it only broke the sword. Even though Ye Bei only broke the sword, Kingshin only observed Ye Bei's technique and was impressed with the way Ye Bei evenly distributed his force in a completely different way from before. He realized that Ye Bei isn't normal with his terrifying learning ability since he only watched Kingshin perform once. But then Ye Bei asked if Luo Yang, who was a bit downer since her weapon forged by her father was destroyed, if she's interested with the weapon he has. With an annoying face, Ye Bei was making like he was trying to tease Luo Yang. He was actually sincere that he's willing to give Luo Yang a special weapon called Heaven's Edge Sword with an attack power of 60+ points and a selling price of 500. Its weapon's effect could tear, bleed, and could transform according to the user's needs. Ye Bei tried to brag the sword to Luo Yang even though he is willing to gift her the sword. Luo Yang, who was sad earlier, became so delighted that she now has a special weapon. She was then curious with how Ye Bei obtained it. Ye Bei explained that one of his abilities was that he could retrieve objects from a distance. Luo Yang didn't even notice that Ye Bei's trying to tease her since Ye Bei's sincere. But deep down, Ye Bei managed to go on an easy way since he has a system that does some works for him, which he considers as his trump card. Later that night, Luo Yang gave her new special weapon a test. She gathered some specific skills to reach the level of the special sword. While Kingshin and Ye Bei, who believed in her strength, watches her perform using the special sword, Luo Yang used her force and skills that with her single slash, her speed couldn't be seen with a naked eye, and it resulted with the wood being cut clean. Luo Yang was impressed with how sharp the sword was. Kingshin wondered why Ye Bei would just give away such a precious sword that could cut an object so smooth and neat that it could hypothetically cut through an iron like mud. Ye Bei doesn't mind giving his frenemy a gift since he considered Kingshin as someone close to him. But deep down, Ye Bei was just returning the favor because of Kingshin. Ye Bei gained the elementary mastery of power technique, which was a huge gain for him. And since the weapon issue and lessons have been resolved, Ye Bei calls it a day to head home. But something has been bothering Kingshin's mind since he saw Ye Bei's potential. Kingshin asked Ye Bei if he would be willing to consider joining the Extreme Martial Arts Institute just like Luo Yang. The next day, Ye Bei had dark circles under his eyes for not being able to sleep for 2 days and nights that he hoped he'd get a chance to get a good rest. Ye Bei was actually interested in Kingshin's statement about the mentioned institute, though Ye Bei is aware that he'd get sleepless nights and a hardcore training since the institute is systematic. He wanted to prepare since the next day will be the assessment, yet Ye Bei craves for a good rest. All of a sudden, a book was seen being thrown in midair, and it painfully hit directly on Ye Bei's face. Ye Bei suddenly became fully awake as he saw an angry Lai Yao in front of him. Lai Yao was mad since Ye Bei's been dodging her calls, and as usual, Ye Bei skipped classes for the past few days. Lai Yao also felt disrespected since she is the class monitor, yet Ye Bei continuously disobeyed her. Ye Bei answered Lai Yao's curiosity with honest answers that he was just at the wilderness, and there was no signal. Lai Yao seemed like she couldn't believe Ye Bei since she's not yet aware of his strength to be in such a dangerous place. But with pride and a bit of arrogance, Ye Bei concluded that he has been hunting down fierce monsters. And in the middle of Ye Bei's prideful speech, Lai Yao doesn't really care about his journey. But Ye Bei tried to persuade his dear friend by mentioning that he brought back a lot of ingredients from the wilderness, and would be lovely to share it with Lai Yao. While Lai Yao tried to act so hard to get, a bus that couldn't hit the brakes appeared while the two of them crossed the street. Ye Bei got instantly alerted and pushed Lai Yao out of the road to perform such heroic act. Ye Bei was mad at the reckless driver that could have killed anyone, until his heroic act became a huge misconception when he accidentally puts his hand on Lai Yao's chest. Lai Yao felt so awkward because of the unintentionally perverted situation the two of them got in. After their awkward interaction, Ye Bei prepared a delicious meal. Ye Bei tried to make the situation less heavy despite the bruise on his cheek. Ye Bei even offered Lai Yao a beef he got from the wilderness heavenly horn fierce bull king as his sign of being apologetic. Lai Yao still tried to act hard to get even though she still insisted to take a bite, though Lai Yao swore that a few pieces of beef can make her forgive Ye Bei. But a single bite of the beef made Lai Yao feel like she's in cloud 9. But she made sure that Ye Bei wouldn't get the satisfaction by not allowing herself express how she enjoyed the meal. Just when the situation got lighter, Ye Bei confessed that he won't be attending the same school with Lai Yao in the future. Lai Yao suddenly got sad that she won't be able to see her dearest friend often. With pure determination, Ye Bei actually considered to apply to the Extreme Martial Arts Institute just like Luo Yang. Though it was a sad moment for Lai Yao, she still believed that it would be a better opportunity for Ye Bei since his talent is more suited to be a martial artist. Even so, Lai Yao still believed that Ye Bei must still continue on his awakening. Lai Yao even offered to help Ye Bei with his school activities and his withdrawal to their current school, but Ye Bei must still attend some classes. After all, Ye Bei was just a student. Before Lai Yao left Ye Bei's place, her name was called. She turned around thinking it is finally their wholesome moment where Ye Bei will confess his feelings. But a slap of reality for Lai Yao when Ye Bei just wanted to thank Lai Yao for her kindness. She got so mad out of embarrassment and slammed the door so loud. Ye Bei was completely clueless with Lai Yao's attitude where she was angelic and suddenly turned to be a meanie. Ye Bei moved forward since he understood that girls could be a bit troublesome and decided to finally take a rest since he'll be attending an assessment the next day. The next day at the Extreme Martial Arts Institute, a lot of talented people participated in applying at the institute, and there was Luo Yang who wore a full gear of her battle suit. Luo Yang and Ye Bei crossed their path while Ye Bei wondered where Qingshan could be. Luo Yang replied that her father went to check the venue and dropped her at the lobby to wait for Ye Bei. As they wait for Qingshan, Ye Bei asked Luo Yang about how he could participate in the assessment. Luo Yang then instructed him to go to the receptionist and register. Afterwards, a participant's name will be called. Ye Bei first looked around the institute and noticed the amount of people who have full passion for becoming a martial artist. He felt competitive that he wondered what the assessment could be. Luo Yang isn't certain with the specific details, but she could feel the cliché wherein their speed, strength, and reflexes will be tested in the assessment. It was the very first time for the two of them to have at least a decent conversation, not until Ye Bei decided to tease Luo Yang and called her a violent woman that should not be eliminated. Luo Yang puts down her boba drink and about to make a comeback to Ye Bei. But this time, Luo Yang didn't show a sign that she's triggered. She became calm and laughed so softly that it creeped Ye Bei out. Luo Yang teased Ye Bei by acting so flirty that made Ye Bei so uncomfortable, until the receptionist calls for Luo Yang to head to the exam hall immediately. Luo instantly dropped the flirty act and turned back into her usual arrogant self. She then invited Ye Bei to come along with her for him to understand what the examination is all about, and also for the two of them as a participant to see how the examination will end. After Luo Yang's name was called, she began to have a duel as part of the examination, and her opponent was a stone monster. Despite being a rock and heavy, the monster still manages to have some fast speed. Luo Yang focuses to keep up with her opponent's speed, but with one slash, Luo Yang sliced the monster into pieces. Luo Yang gave a quite great performance that the crowd began to love her for taking down the stone giant at ease. The referee announced Luo Yang's victory and passes the test. The crowd went wild for her. Afterwards, Qingshan approached his daughter and called her a stubborn child for going all in with her skills, even though she only needed to do was make the stone giant lose its mobility. Behind Qingshan, there was Ye Bei who suddenly popped up to congratulate his frenemy. Luo Yang acted like as if she didn't care, but then asked Ye Bei about his performance in the preliminaries. But Ye Bei chose to tease her by not telling Luo Yang the specific details. Luo Yang was triggered and the two of them became childish again, until the next challenger was announced, and it was Ye Bei. In Ye Bei's case, he's dueling with another person. But not just a person, his opponent will be an awakened which he never fought before. Luo Yang became concerned for Ye Bei, but Qingshan assures that Ye Bei will be alright since he's aware that Ye Bei is just hiding a lot of talent in him. Until the referee starts the clock for the duel to start. The opponent tried to intimidate as much as possible by warning Ye Bei to be careful. The opponent summoned pieces of stones and created a massive tornado as he assembled all the pieces of rocks together. But the tornado affected some participants as well, and made them think that it might be too much of a performance. The audience thought of how unfair it was and like the institute holds a grudge against Ye Bei for his opponent to be a stone giant that is tall as a 5-story building. The opponent revealed that he went to the limit of his control over the power of Gaia. He expects for Ye Bei to surpass him. Meanwhile, the referee reviewed Ye Bei's database wherein it was stated that his strength weighs at 3,500 kilograms, with a speed of 52 minutes per second. And it also stated his infamous past where he destroyed the faceless man with his bare hands. The referee made a comparison that Ye Bei's physical abilities is equivalent to a second-rank warrior. He also noticed that Ye Bei has an average skill without the use of systematic training. The referee realized that Ye Bei is a natural gifted of 1 in a million. Back to the fight, the opponent attempted to punch Ye Bei, until Ye Bei showed that he has a quick reflex. In Ye Bei's mind, he never forgot to analyze his opponent. He realized that Awakeners are indeed tricky for having a power bestowed by the gods. But then Ye Bei was caught by his opponent, which made it difficult for him to attack back. The crowd was deeply intrigued with how the physics was manipulated due to the opponent having a massive body, yet the speed was so fast. The opponent had a laugh thinking that Ye Bei's label as a 1 in a million was a sham, until Ye Bei managed to escape from the grip of the stone giant, and made its hands blown up by a single tiny body of Ye Bei. The referee was impressed to see that Ye Bei's strength suddenly increased again and was certain that not only Awakeners have tricks up their sleeves. Due to the powerful forces, the body of the stone giant was like a magnet on its own. All the parts that were crushed and fallen found its way back to the main body. It was like the stone giant's body could regenerate no matter what, until every stone went back to the host and its hand was fully formed again. The opponent was also impressed with Ye Bei. Unluckily, Ye Bei's skills will be useless since the stone giant could recover in an instant. After Ye Bei managed to escape, he landed on the part of the stadium where weapons are displayed for the participants to use. As he thought of using a weapon, he realized that 10 times the power wouldn't inflict fatal damage on his opponent. Ye Bei rushes over to his opponent with a spear as his weapon, while the stone giant does the same move as before, until Ye Bei ascended and landed on the stone giant's arm to perform his skill that he's been waiting to find for an opportunity to use. He then summoned his ability, which he called the Ascending Dragon, Descending Phoenix Slash. The crowd unexpectedly witnessed Ye Bei's power, and they were shocked to see a dragon and a phoenix as a combination of Ye Bei's skill. And with that, Ye Bei's power resulted in the stone giant to be slashed in half. Ye Bei with full confidence asked the referee if he passed the test. Meanwhile, somewhere at the headquarters of the Extreme Martial Arts Institute, there was an alcoholic man with bottles of booze surrounded him, and the man was revealed to be Chen Yi, the chief of the Extreme Martial Arts Institute headquarters. Chen Yi's assistant went to check up on him since he has been unhealthily drinking too much alcohol. Chen Yi got mad since he believed he is a 5th-ranked warrior that won't easily get drunk. But the assistant didn't make any negative comments in return. Instead, she slammed a pile of documents on the table to report it to Chen Yi. The assistant was aware that Chen Yi felt disappointed about the lack of talent in the institute. In return for Chen Yi to stop feeling depressed, the assistant wanted Chen Yi to check the database of the participants in the assessment. She tried to act a bit flirtatiously to at least convince Chen Yi to give some students a chance, until Chen Yi was completely persuaded and gave the presented database a chance. As Chen Yi observed the database, one participant made him restore his hope for the future of their infamous institute. Back to the main event. Due to Ye Bei's performance, he didn't just pass the test, but he also got a reward of a 2nd-rank warrior emblem. Ye Bei proudly received the award while to look cute. But of course, Ye Bei won't be satisfied unless he made fun of Luo Yang for not getting the same reward as him. And with that, Kingshan concluded that Ye Bei's strength is no weaker than his. Ye Bei felt so embarrassed to get a compliment from his idol and mentor, until Ye Bei received a phone call in the middle of his brief celebration. He wondered who the caller might be, and it was none other than Lai Yao, who's deeply furious with Ye Bei, who skipped his school. Ye Bei stayed calm as he tried to break good news to Lai Yao about his current success. Meanwhile, despite their rivalry, Luo Yang also felt a bit bummer that Ye Bei is stronger than her. As for Kingshan, he's thinking of the right words to comfort her daughter that won't lead her to be depressed. Just when Kingshan who's about to make a speech, it seemed like Luo Yao doesn't let her negative thoughts eat her. She made a compromise that someday she would surpass Ye Bei. The next day, Ye Bei heads to the periphery of Fierce Tiger Mountain, wherein a bunch of mythical predators roamed around for their prey and got hunted down by people to gain points for their stats, until the winged tigers were struck by Ye Bei's lightning. Ye Bei was happy with his improvement ever since he learned that technique is what a warrior should master. Ye Bei feels great that he could level up at ease unlike his first experience in the wilderness, until more predators arrived to annihilate Ye Bei's existence. The winged tigers were all furious to feel the presence of a hunter. But even though Ye Bei's been outnumbered, he didn't panic like the first time he encountered a bunch of winged tigers. Even with the certainty of Ye Bei's improvement, he felt weird and unusual for the tigers to be so dumb all of a sudden, until a powerful one faced Ye Bei and made him realize that the normal winged tigers were just buying time. because the real threat waits for Ye Bei, and it was the golden-winged Tiger King in his distance. The Tiger King and Ye Bei once again crossed their path, while the Tiger King made sure that Ye Bei would be defeated from then on. Ye Bei was nervous to feel the uneasy aura of the Tiger King from a faraway distance. Ye Bei realized that he had been the target of the golden-winged tigers since he massacred the tigers the first time. He went to the wilderness, which alerted the Tiger King to set up a trap for Ye Bei. Since Ye Bei fell for the trap, it was the Tiger King's cue to attack Ye Bei. Luckily, Ye Bei was smart enough that he was still not in the level wherein he could handle the Tiger King. He knew he must run away before the tiger reached him. Ye Bei used a skill he called Solitary Bodhi technique that allows him to dash with a fast speed. Unfortunately, the Tiger King's speed is much faster than his technique, that Ye Bei could see the Tiger King being closer to him, until the Tiger King spits a huge ball with all gathered forces in it that could kill and weaken Ye Bei. Ye Bei was unhinged with the Tiger King's ability. Luckily, the ball only hit his left arm, but it still left him a huge amount of pain. The ball misses him, and it only hit the mountain ahead of him that it almost destroyed. Ye Bei recognized the ball to be an air cannon, which was unexpectedly strong, and surprisingly, the Tiger King didn't use much force in it. But more unfortunate events occurred when Ye Bei realized that his wound would give him in a disadvantaged situation to move forward. Ye Bei must think of a tactic to get away from the Tiger King before the threat reaches him. He then found a deadly swamp. Ye Bei's idea was to lure the Tiger King by making himself a bait. He tried to act so fearless and dared the Tiger King to come across him, since the Tiger King was smart enough and thought it would just fly over the swamp. Making the Tiger King drown in the swamp wasn't actually the plan and made Ye Bei smirk that he just outsmarted the Tiger King. Ye Bei dodged the Tiger King by going back in the ground, until the Tiger King sensed that there was something wrong with the swamp. He just flew in. The swamp got heated and its surface became uneven, like something was going to pop up. And there it was, the tyrant of the muddy marsh, a monster called the double-headed Crimson Dragon. The Tiger King forgot his agenda once he was distracted by his worthy opponent. Ye Bei got his idea from a knowledge that ferocious monsters have some strong territorial instinct. Luckily, the Crimson Dragon has no time to pay attention on Ye Bei's presence, since the dragon could tell that Ye Bei is nowhere its level, and just when the Tiger King arrived, the double-headed Crimson Dragon sensed a threat which provoked it. Ye Bei still got more time since he finally got rid of the Tiger King using his smart tactics, but he first must drink a large health potion, which resulted in his left arm to be completely healed in an instant. Even though Ye Bei and the Tiger King obviously have a huge gap when it comes to their strength, Ye Bei was still satisfied with the outcome. In Ye Bei's mind, he got satisfaction from the fact that he just outsmarted a well-known sharp, ferocious monster. Later that day, again in the wilderness, a bunch of golden-winged tigers were just minding their own business with their natural habitat, until they all sensed another hunter. To their surprise, a blade suddenly appeared in front of them. The hunter arrived with such an extra and appealing entrance. Ye Bei just arrived, but then he got multiple system notification that's informing him that he had just killed multiple winged tigers. Unlike before, where tigers would instantly attack Ye Bei once his presence was detected, the winged tigers are now fearing him. Ye Bei arrived along with his dragon figure power with lightning attributes. With pure confidence, Ye Bei made fun of the winged tigers, knowing that he's much stronger. The winged tigers are now afraid of Ye Bei that instead of fighting back, they all ran away. Ye Bei felt so malicious knowing that he just became the threat among the predators. Ye Bei made sure no one would escape and used his most well-known move against the winged tigers. Ye Bei created a powerful attack that affected the 1/4 of the forest. With that, all the winged tigers that appeared in front of Ye Bei were defeated. That gave Ye Bei multiple of experience and gold points up to 2,800 points. Ye Bei was surprised with the number of tigers he just had killed, though he slightly wasn't satisfied since he aimed for a round number. Luckily, he encountered a last winged tiger that would add to his 200th record. But this golden winged tiger is also not like the normal ones, since it was the golden winged tiger general in the level 20, with a combat power of 1,500 points. Since it was the tiger general's first encounter with Ye Bei, it still has no idea with how powerful Ye Bei could be and just attempted to counterattack in an instant. The tiger general was shocked that his opponent actually had fast reflexes like him. While Ye Bei was in midair, he immediately found a great opportunity and went behind the Tiger General's blind spot. And with Ye Bei's one single blow, the Tiger General was defeated. Ye Bei was deeply satisfied with his new record of killing over 200 golden-winged tigers. The system notified Ye Bei that he finally completed his quest of annihilating the Tiger Clan. In return, Ye Bei was rewarded a skill called Tiger Leap, where it enhances agility and reaction ability. And once it was activated, it will grant Ye Bei 3 times the speed and reaction power for a duration of 10 minutes with a cooldown of 30 minutes. Ye Bei realized that his journey with hunting down the tigers was actually his hidden quest, and the day of the Tiger King's revenge would come sooner. But what mattered most for Ye Bei is the fact that he could sell the corpses of the golden-winged tigers or make a delicious meal out of it. Ye Bei celebrates when he realized he is no longer a pauper. Meanwhile, at the golden-winged Tiger King's side, he defeated the dragon by beheading it. He got even more furious to witness his kind were all brutally massacred. He was so triggered that it started to growl so loud and hoped to find Ye Bei sooner. The Tiger King unleashed its anger towards the innocent hunters. They all panicked when they realized the Tiger King was trying to target them. But it was all too late for the hunters when all of a sudden, the Tiger King summoned its air cannon, until they were all crushed and killed by the ferocious monster. Later that night at the blacksmith underground, Ye Bei thought of the amount of profit he'll get once he sold off the tigers he hunted down. He even imagined himself buying a branded phone like Nokia for his left hand and a Motorola for his right hand. Ye Bei also noticed that Kyan is a hustler for still working so late. As he went in, he greeted Kyan with a bright smile due to his excitement, until a flying butcher knife appeared in midair. Luckily, Ye Bei dodged the terrifying experience and revealed that it was the little girl who attempted to murder Ye Bei, who thought he was an intruder. Ye Bei thought of teaching the kid to avoid being rude, but since the kid was such a brat, Ye Bei made himself look scary. But the kid wasn't scared. It didn't even terrify her one bit, until Kyan arrived and saw Ye Bei, who suddenly made a visit. Though Ye Bei noticed the sudden change of infrastructure in Kyan's home, like the stairs disappeared, Kyan introduced the little kid to be his daughter Ye. He felt embarrassed since he was aware that his kid was out of control. Ye seemed to be such a brat that doesn't even respect her own father. He doesn't even address Kyan as dad but rather call him an old man. Kyan apologized to Ye Bei for having a daughter that he spoiled so much. He then wondered what's with Ye Bei's sudden visitation. Ye Bei then went straight to the business by informing Kyan that he brought along a number of 36 corpses of the golden-winged tigers. Lucky for Ye Bei, since them were acquaintances, he promised that he won't haggle and even made a fixed price of 320,000 per corpse. Ye Bei was so delighted with the offer that he immediately took the deal. Later that night, Ye Bei felt like Kyan had a secret for not being curious of the origin of the winged tigers. Ye Bei also noticed a bunch of experts gathering at the slaughterhouse, but then Ye Bei doesn't want to interfere since he knew Kyan so well. In Ye Bei's judgment, he is certain that Kyan isn't a bad person who he trusts so well. Meanwhile, at the slaughterhouse, Kyan seemed to be the boss of the experts. Their meeting consisted of information which they are the only one who's aware, but lately they had just found out that the Monster King's corpse has been targeted by other savage monsters. Kyan's face turned into a typical villain character as he ordered the experts to seal the information that they had just found out. The next day, Chenyi was found outside of Ye Bei's apartment. His friend wondered if they had come to the right place, but Chenyi was really certain. After Ye Bei showed his talent at the Extreme Martial Arts Institute, Chenyi became more curious of Ye Bei that he had read every detail of Ye Bei according to his database. Meanwhile, at Ye Bei's apartment, he again prepared a delicious meal from all the monsters he hunted down. As usual, he's always delighted to share his food with his dearest friend Lai Yao, until he got startled by the notification system where it notified him that something suspicious was going on with Kyan. Ye Bei got mad with the system's late reaction since he had the gut feeling on that night, yet the system's reaction was so late. Ye Bei had a random thought that if the system is used well, it will be an auxiliary artifact. Until there was a knock on his door, he was excited thinking Lai Yao had just arrived. Ye Bei greeted his dearest friend with such a friendly and welcoming soul. But then he got disappointed to see two grown men on his front door instead of Lai Yao. On his front door, Chenyi along with his colleague greeted Ye Bei. Chenyi started the conversation by complimenting Ye Bei for his unique taste, but Ye Bei still doesn't trust them fully. Chenyi revealed that they have been paying attention to Ye Bei since his performance has been the center of attention. Chenyi then introduced himself as one of the people in the infamous institute. But Chenyi's colleague has an unusual behavior the moment he smelled the delicious food that Ye Bei had prepared for him and Lai Yao. The man rudely walked in and was delighted with the delicious smell, which he recognized the meat to be a second-rank ferocious monster golden-winged tiger as ingredients. The man with a strange smile on his face asked Ye Bei if he was the one who killed the winged tigers. Ye Bei confessed that he did, but he was more furious with the man who let invited himself in. Ye Bei got startled when the man suddenly went closer to his face and advising him to be more patient. Ye Bei was lifted and was forced to sit on the table with no idea what will the man do to him. Because of such speed and power, Ye Bei didn't even got the chance to react. He wondered who the unpleasant gentleman might be. Afterwards, all the meals were eaten that annoyed Ye Bei since he prepared all of it for Lai Yao and he didn't get the chance to taste his own cooking. Chenyi genuinely complimented Ye Bei's cooking, that he could see Ye Bei has a future in culinary where he could make tons of profit. But the usual greedy Ye Bei reacted by juicing some money worth 1 million on Chen Ye since they ate all of the meal. Ye Bei spoke up about how rude it was of the guy with green clothes for not asking for a consent to come in and decided to eat other people's food. Chen Ye apologized that they were informal. He then introduced his colleague named Tang Wen, the head of the Jiangnan district main hall. Ye Bei realized that he had just met an extraordinary person. He then wondered why the two heads from a famous department came to visit his apartment on that day. Tang Wen spoke up and confessed that he was intrigued with Ye Bei's potential, that he wanted Ye Bei to be his disciple and make him a core disciple of the Extreme Martial Arts Institute. Chen Yi envied Ye Bei since a headmaster literally wanted to take a disciple for the first time. Ye Bei appreciates the offer and how the headmasters looked up to him, but Ye Bei believed that he must participate in the awakening ceremony first. Tang Wen did hear that Ye Bei's awakening value is 0. But more importantly, Tang Wen wanted to know if Ye Bei's awakening value really was the case, or that maybe he just doesn't even regard a martial artist. For the first time, Ye Bei felt intimidated. With the aura alone makes him feel fearful. Because of that experience, it made Ye Bei realize to cherish his second life opportunity. Ye Bei glared back at Tang Wen and promised that even if he succeeds in awakening, he will not give up on the path of martial artist. Tang Wen kept himself quiet to hear out more of Ye Bei's speech if he will be a worthy disciple. With full determination in his spirit, Ye Bei just didn't want to turn his back on a certain thing even though he got a better opportunity, since he wanted to be much stronger. Until Ye Bei's vision turned back to reality. He woke up from Tang Wen's aura when Chen Yi gave him applause for his outstanding speech. Tang Wen knew he chose the right candidate since Ye Bei didn't get held back from Tang Wen's oppressive aura, but even better since he saw the honesty and a good mindset in Ye Bei. Tang Wen respected Ye Bei's decision, but he promised that the doors of the Extreme Martial Arts Institute will always be open for Ye Bei. Before the two headmasters leave, Tang Wen gave Ye Bei a reminder that he will send an email regarding his insights to Ye Bei. He hoped Ye Bei would consider studying, or else Ye Bei would feel his wrath. As they went for their car, Chen Yi noticed that Tang Wen was too kind for Ye Bei, that it made him feel unusual since Tang Wen barely gives him any guidance. In Tang Wen's defense, Chen Yi's capability was already at peak to receive any guidance. And as for Ye Bei, his existence and mindset gave Tang Wen hope for the future of martial artist. Tang Wen hoped Ye Bei would surpass the certain man they knew who is famously strong. Later that day, Ye Bei prepared another meal since he promised Lai Yao. But then he once again didn't get the chance to taste his own dish since Lai Yao ate all of it. In Lai Yao's defense, she was just growing like a normal human being and made her eat more. But Ye Bei had other naughty thoughts in his mind as he was pertaining on Lai Yao's breast. Back to the main point, Lai Yao warned Ye Bei to not leave the city since the situation was unstable. Ye Bei wondered what was going on, and it seemed like their speculation regarding the danger levels of the city was right. Lai Yao tried her best to stop Ye Bei on leaving the city. While Ye Bei prepared his own meal, he wondered what the speculation that Lai Yao was talking about was. Even though Lai Yao is aware that Ye Bei is just striving hard for his own good, she was just concerned since the danger level of the Qingcheng city had just increased. Ye Bei replied to Lai Yao that she has nothing to worry about since he got it all under control. Lai Yao was down when she realizes she has no choice but to let Ye Bei choose his own path even though Ye Bei is the dearest friend of hers. Lai Yao didn't want to argue and just decided to head home instead. Ye Bei, on the other hand, also felt bad that he just made his friend sad. He was grateful that Lai Yao cared for him, but he won't wait until something bad happens and let others control their fate. Ye Bei was determined that he will never surrender his destiny to someone else. The next morning, Ye Bei received an email which Tang Wen mentioned the other day. As he checked his email, he was impressed with Tang Wen being the 6th-ranked martial artist with high efficiency. All of a sudden, Ye Bei was mysteriously transported into the email. Ye Bei suddenly appeared in a place where he isn't familiarized with. He shivered from the extreme cold in the blizzard. But Ye Bei wasn't the only person who's present at that place. There was also Tang Wen, who handed him a jacket. Ye Bei couldn't figure out whether the place was virtual or reality since that atmosphere was so realistic. Ye Bei just arrived, and Tang Wen was already dueling with a polar bear with a large scar on its chest. The animal was revealed to be the sub-monster king called the Polar Bear King. Ye Bei was certain that he would learn a lot since Tang Wen is using a spear as his weapon, which Ye Bei usually uses as his main weapon. The Polar Bear King was provoked, but Tang Wen isn't intimidated either. Tang Wen summoned his skills onto the spear, and it created a large amount of fire attributes. The Polar Bear King even got more provoked, and each other's ability power clashes on one another. Though the Polar Bear King may seem powerful as any ferocious monster, Tang Wen is certain that he is much stronger. Since their collision had no effect on one another, the Polar Bear smacked the ground to make Tang Wen stumble on the ground. But due to Tang Wen's fast reflexes, he was able to dodge by jumping off the demolished ground. Tang Wen even got the guts to make a joke by inviting the bear to die with him. As Tang Wen landed on the ground, he summoned another power to coat his spear weapon. The clouds suddenly became darker and produced a rumbling sound until a thunder appeared that made it look like Tang Wen's been gathering all the thunder. Tang Wen used the gathered thunder to target the polar bear with his skill he called the secret technique Thunder Wave. The thunder successfully hits the polar bear, but then it was revealed that the spear came along to shoot the polar bear's right eye. Tang Wen was terrifying in the battlefield that he didn't even show any remorse to his opponent. But the bear is still alive and well despite his right eye got stabbed. On to Tang Wen's next move. He used another secret technique he called the shadow movement, 8 directions. That allows him to clone to confuse the opponent on where his main body was. Ye Bei couldn't believe that someone could actually pull off that move like they were some professional ninja. All of Tang Wen's shadows went synchronized to counterattack the polar bear. But even though the clones were all just shadows, it has the ability to give damage to its opponent. But the polar bear king was still alive and standing despite all the injuries it received from Tang Wen. Tang Wen went back to a distant spot and decided to spare the polar bear since next time he'll be taking the polar bear king's head. Tang Wen laughed hysterically since his duel with the polar bear was too easy, until another portal popped up and made Ye Bei nervous since he knew he'll be teleported again to such a dangerous place. But then, Tang Wen just wanted to send him home. But the way the portal dropped off Ye Bei was too harsh that he got slammed at his bedroom. Ye Bei realized that Tang Wen isn't the kind of person to be messed with due to his terrifying power. And just like his experience with Kingshan wherein he instantly learned and adapted Kingshan's method, Ye Bei got a system notification that he just acquired an advanced martial technique called the Thunder Wave through teaching.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more content like this. Leave a comment for the next part, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.